Okay everybody, I'm back over the stand mixer without washi today. Hopefully the new setup works. And today I am actually taking you on a little experiment with me. I came across this idea from two different things that happened on the same day. So the other day I saw this picture on Pinterest where someone had made their dinner rolls for Thanksgiving look like little pumpkins. And I was like, oh, that's so cute, maybe I should try that. And then later that day I was in my pantry and I noticed, well, I remembered that I had several cans of canned pumpkin to use. And so I was wondering if I could, one, make potato rolls. You know how you can make dinner rolls with mashed potatoes? But maybe swap out canned pumpkin for the potatoes. And then if I could also form the pumpkins themselves. So this is an entire, like, brand new, never done this, just this is what I do. I think of weird food things or combine things in my head and then I just have to try it. So I thought today I would bring you along. And I have not made this before, so we will see exactly what happens. I'm going to start by proofing my yeast because my yeast is a little bit, it's on the borderline for too old. So I'm going to proof it to get it started. I'm going to start with 2 packages or 2 tablespoons. I buy my yeast at Costco, so I don't use packages. 2 tablespoons of yeast, 1 1/3 cups of warm water, and 2/3 of a cup of sugar. Where's my 1/3 measuring cup? Sorry. 2/3 of a cup for sugar. And I'm going to let this proof for a few minutes. Make sure that my yeast works because I don't want to go through the whole process and have my rolls not rise. And so then when I come back after it's proofed, we will go on to the next step. Okay, we are back, and obviously my yeast does work. It did rise. I'm gonna kind of just mix it a tiny bit just to get it. Am I shaking you? I can't tell if I'm shaking you. Just to make sure it's not all chunked up. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in a cup of pumpkin. This is where I would normally add mashed potatoes, and I'm just subbing 1 for 1 and hoping this works. They're a little more wet than my mashed potatoes, but we'll see. We shall see. Okay, in addition to the pumpkin, I'm gonna add 2/3, where did I put my butter? Oh, here it is. 2/3 of a cup of butter that I've chunked up. It's kind of softened, not completely though. 2 eggs. 2 eggs. Okay. A little bit of salt here. I know you're supposed to mix your salt with your flour and stuff first. I just don't. So 2 1/2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to mix all this together before I add in the flour, starting on slow because it does splash quite a bit. Okay, and what I will do, since this is so chunky still, is I'm gonna add in a little bit of the flour, mix it more, and then add the rest. Okay, so for this, we need like 6 to 6 1/2 cups of flour. That's my 1 cup, my other 1 cup measure. So I'm gonna put in 2 cups right now, just to mix it together, and hopefully, here's my problem when I do this. Hopefully I remember how much flour I have put in and how much I still need to put in. That way I have kind of something thick for the butter to break up against too, because my butter was not that soft. Kind of mix it there too. Okay. And really you're just looking for regular dough consistency here. So there's cups 3, 4, and 5. Mix these in, and pretty soon I'm gonna have to switch to my dough hook. You don't have to have a mixer to do this. You can do this the way you normally do bread if you don't have a stand mixer. I just love to use my stand mixer for bread because it's so much easier on my arms for the kneading part. Although sometimes I just kind of want to knead it the old-fashioned way, you know. there's a little bit of I don't know, of comfort feeling in that. Get all this stuff out of here, and I'm going to switch to the dough hook for the last cup to cup and a half. What I look for when I'm making a yeast spread, consistency-wise, is something that's slightly sticky. I can't stand to have stuff on my fingers. I'm always washing them while I'm cooking. Okay, something that's smooth but is also not dry is what I'm looking for. So that is cup number 6. We'll see if we need the last half cup to cup. With a stand mixer, if you have one, often when the whole ball of dough clumps together and is done, it kind of cleans up the sides of the bowl. That's usually when it's ready to go. Turn it up a little bit. I think your stand is touching my bowl, so yeah, see how it's mixed in, but it still has a lot here, so it needs a little more flour. Let's do right around a half cup. Let's see if I can move this off of you a tiny bit so you don't shake as much. I often drape a tea towel over this. I often do that once I see it start to splash out instead of in advance. That's how I roll. Okay. And then here's what it looks like at the end, okay? I think I'm actually going to go ahead and add in one more half cup of flour. The edges are clean, but they're still a little sticky, and this does not have like a ball formation to it. It's still pretty fluid, so we'll go with another half cup. Get it mixed in, see how it does. Might be shaking the whole entire countertop here. Woo. Yeah, that is more what I'm looking for right there. It's completely clean, and this was like an entire ball. So I am just going to get this off the hook. Off the hook, man. This bread is off the hook. Just kidding. And I'm going to put this in a greased bowl just to let it rise until it doubles in size, just like standard. I'm expecting that to take about an hour. This is regular yeast. It's not a quick rise. Let me do that for you real quick. I love, when I was little, when my mom made bread, and she made bread a lot when I was little, she would let it rise, and then I got to have the job of punching down the dough. And I always thought that was so fun, and now my kids get to do it. All those things you think aren't going to be, like, you don't realize at the time that they're going to be traditions or something like that, you know? And then they end up being something you look forward to. So I've got the grease in here. Got my dough going in. It's still a little bit loose, but I'm going to trust the system here. Or trust that we'll have an entertaining workout after. So I flip it so that it stays moist on top as well. And then I wash my hands for the 30th time, because again, I can't stand to have stuff on my hands. Okay, and I'm just gonna sit this in a warm spot for the next hour to rise. Okay, and I will see you back here when it does. Okay, so I am back here. I just floured my countertop and put an apron on because I always get flour all over me. I have my dough that has risen, and I'm just gonna kind of push it in a little bit here and then flop it down. And get a little more on top. And I'm just gonna gently knead the extra air out of it. It's really nice and soft. Okay, Okay, and then at this point, it feels really good already. I'm kind of surprised at how, I thought it might be too sticky to work with, but it's looking great. Okay, so what I'm gonna do at this point is cut it. Let me rinse the flour off my hands. I'm just going to take a knife and cut it. I think I'm gonna go with maybe 18 rolls out of this. So I'll cut this lump in half. And then let's see, I'll need 9, so 3. And those will each be 3. Okay, so how to get these to look like pumpkins, from what the Pinterest pin said, is you want to make your rolls just like normal into round balls. So I'm going to get these into nice round balls here, like this. And then it says to just make slices. I gotta grab a knife. Slices along the side. So, like that. Like what you're making is like the ribs along the outside of the pumpkin. I'm not gonna go all the way to the bottom and top. I don't want them to be too deep, but I do want them to be visible. So I guess this will be my experiment to see how deep I have to make them in order for this to work. I don't know. We'll see how these turn out. Okay, I'm going to sit in on my baking sheet. I'm going to finish making all of these like that, and then I will see you back here when I stick them in the oven. Okay, so I was working on these, and I decided to try making it a little bit easier on myself by, instead of trying to slice into the dough, because it can kind of tug on it and stuff, I decided to try kitchen shears and just kind of snip along the sides, and it works really easy. I avoided that in the beginning because I didn't want these where it meets in the middle to kind of pinch, but I'm just going to smooth that back out with my fingers. So that's what it looks like from the top. So I just wanted to update you on that, and I'm going to finish them now. I forgot to show you guys when I put them in. I just put them in the oven. They're at 375, and I'm going to start them at 20 minutes and see how they go from there. Okay, guys, so this is what it came out looking like. I put a little pecan half up here for the stem. That's what I saw on Pinterest, was the shape and the pecan stem. I was thinking one of those stick pretzels would be good too. I just don't have any of those right now. So I would say the scissors worked fine. I would suggest making sure that you cut far enough up and down. I was worried about connecting them all and kind of splitting apart, but there are a few places where I just didn't go far enough down, like right there. Real quick, just a couple other tips. This one right here is the one that I did first with the knife, and none of the lines came out very good. So I would definitely use the scissors for the things. And also, when you go to put on the change hands here. When you go to put on the nut or pretzel or whatever, it's kind of hard to break the top. So I've been using a skewer to kind of poke a hole and then sticking that in there, and that helps a lot. And then I wanted to sit you down because I busted one of these open and it was absolutely beautiful. You just have to see this part. Ooh, it's hot, hold on. These are so soft and beautiful inside. To pull it apart. I mean, look at that. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off of there, but they're just soft. They're gorgeous. They actually taste just like a regular roll. I don't really taste anything pumpkin-y about them. They just have a cool fall color to them, and they're really soft and tender.